Hi Pilgrims, and welcome to this episode of the Pilgrim Story Hour. Do you have to suffer to be a pilgrim? Now this is an interesting question, and one that sometimes comes up in pilgrim meetings, and it generates just about as much debate and passion as the kinds of boots that you should be wearing or how much weight you should be carrying. And it's a topic that I think merits a little bit of conversation. And it's usually also connected with this idea of, suffering is something that makes me a better pilgrim. So if I'm suffering while I am walking, does that not make me a better pilgrim? Isn't that the spirit of pilgrimage? And again, those are all very kind of interesting questions. And what I'd like to do is just offer a few reflections. I think this idea of suffering has its roots and its origins perhaps in the traditional pilgrimages in the medieval ages, and later when many individuals, criminals included, were asked or were told to walk the Camino as part of their penance. And so this idea of penance and walking as a means of paying for your sins or for the wrongdoings that you have committed, and feeling that you are unworthy, and so you have to suffer because you have committed terrible acts or done things that are not in alignment with the God of your belief or with the essence of who you truly are. So I think the roots of it are easy to understand. But in the context of today's pilgrim, is there room for suffering? And for me, I make quite a distinction between suffering and struggling. I think struggle is an innate part of going on something that is so completely outside of your comfort zone. Of course you're going to struggle. You're leaving your country. You're leaving your routine. Oftentimes, maybe you're not leaving your country, but you're leaving your home. You're leaving the things that you know, that give you comfort, that bring you a sense of security. You're leaving a language that you know, a culture that you're familiar with. You're leaving what it means for you to feel safe, to feel secure, to be surrounded by an environment that you're comfortable with. And you're going into a complete unknown. And so anytime you walk out of your routine and you enter this world of the unknown, of course you're outside of your comfort zone. Of course you're going to struggle. It's natural to feel a certain amount of hesitation, to feel a little bit of anxiety. That is all part of you trying to adapt to a new situation that you find yourself in. The struggle comes from trying to find a way to fit what you already know and who you already are into situations that you feel unprepared for, completely unknown to you. And so the struggle for me is a natural part of trying to adapt to a new situation, new circumstances, and trying to flow with that. Now, do you have to suffer in order to do this? In my worldview, suffering is an optional thing. You can look at everything that is happening in terms of all these new unknowns as being so terrible and makes me feel awful. I can't handle it. This is something beyond anything that I'm capable of even connecting with or in any way overcoming. And there comes the suffering. Or this is a grand opportunity. I can look at all of these new things that I'm being exposed to, all these new ideas, these new ways of being that I now get to explore in this wonderful crucible of humanity called the Camino. So for me, the idea of change is a constant theme. Of course, you're going to be changing. Of course, there are going to be things that you're not going to know how to handle. That's okay. That's all just part of the struggle of learning how to stand up in full confidence of who you are, trusting your intuition, and to know that you have everything that you need already inside of you to be able to resolve and to handle any situation that comes up. I invite you to consider what it is that struggle means to you, and the things in your journey that are outside of your comfort zone that are causing you to feel that little bit of anxiety, that little bit of, I don't know if I can handle it, and to trust that you actually do have everything that you need inside of you to figure it out. And that suffering is something completely optional. If you wish to take this pilgrimage and all its experiences as an opportunity to grow, to experience and to explore aspects of yourself that you haven't before, then the pilgrimage becomes a wonderful opportunity of inner exploration. If you want to look at it as suffering, well, that too becomes an option that you too are able to experience, but that's completely up to you and within your power and your choice to decide whether or not to do so. I hope this has served you in your personal journey, wherever it may lead you. I welcome your comments and your thoughts and wish you all muy buen camino. Thanks, pilgrims.